Mr. Ahmed Alex Omar, who is also the Chief Executive Officer of Graphics Packaging Communications LLC. Good morning, sir. It's a pleasure having you join me on the program.
Good morning, blessing.
We've been back and forth on this. It's glad to have you join me on the show.
Thank you.
Let's get talking now. So much to talk about. We'll take them as time will permit us. But first off, I'd like to get your thoughts on this development that has been trending in the country. The ban on the use of styrofoam by the Lagos State government, and also the ban on sachet alcoholic drinks by NAFDAC. How do you react to these two developments?
Thank you. It's actually been trending. But in the first place, as you know, there are regulations, and different organizations are responsible for regulations.
Yes.
In the first place, Lagos State government has no right to jump into making any pronouncement or ban. They should have gone through the regulatory bodies. We still have Standard Organization of Nigeria. So what will be the job of Standard Organization of Nigeria if Lagos State will be the one to begin to decide standards? What is the role of NAFDAC and industry? Lagos State government has to jump in to make a pronouncement. You see, some of these pronouncements at the particular time begin to look more political. In the first place, styrofoam is not supposed to be a food grade or food contact grade packaging material. It's like an insulator. So you are saying you're banning this. At what point are you banning it? Styrofoam is a very good packaging material. It depends on the application. For instance, people still sell food with newspapers, with the inks and everything.
Yes.
You find them on the street. Why did they not go around to say they ban them?
But I think the government is looking at the environmental pollution rather that styrofoam is actually causing in the state. How do you react to that?
See, post-consumer waste everywhere in the world has been the same story. If you go to developed economies, you find people going about with guns. You don't find people going about with guns in Nigeria. It's only when they get into the hand of a human, they become a menace. So we have to grow that culture, teach people how to manage post-consumer waste. You see, packaging in this part of the world still remains something new, and that education has not been there. You find people that are very educated, they finish drinking a bottle of water and they throw it out of their car.
Yes.
I mean, you go to parties, you go to people's home, you see how they manage post-consumer waste. It's not the packaging that is the problem. It's the human element. We just have to teach ourselves how to behave. I mean, it's like saying, look, you're going to ban people driving cars because people are following one way. It doesn't make sense for me. So we have to see how we'll be able to manage people who do not know how to manage post-consumer waste. On this packaging material, they are clearly marked how to take care of them.
Very true.
Dispose in a matured way. But you still find people who are supposed to have known these things. I mean, I live in an estate where sometimes you wake up in the morning, you find people washing their cars, they bring all the junk from inside their car and they throw it in the compound. Here in Lagos, we used to have the case of where you put a basket. Yes. Yeah. Today, nobody talks about it anymore. So, I mean, the moment you create the awareness, I mean, I remember the days of Governor Marwa in Lagos.
Yes.
We have
Keep against indiscipline.
Yes, we have been that we're scanning almost every street where you can display. I mean, you seen it immediately. You know, yes, that you cannot just drop it because you can see one bin in front of you. So I think it has to do with consumers' behavior. It's not the packaging material itself. So let us not see the packaging material as the bad guy. We, as the consumer and the government, I mean, it's just a pity that sometimes some people like being whipped into the line. I mean, this is what has happened in the past where we have to begin to have soldiers and police on the street where they have to make people to behave correctly. Do not defecate on the road. Do not pass urine on the road. I mean, it's the same story.
Nigerian seems to be the toughest set of people to actually govern over, as far as the world is concerned, from my own perspective now. Because you just like you rightly said, when you give a particular instruction, you still see people do exactly the same thing you want them against. Now, in this situation, in order for businesses not to be affected, how can the government act swiftly to ensure that they work on the attitude aspect of the consumers?
You see, we have regulatory bodies. We have Standard Organization of Nigeria. We have NAFDAC.
Yes.
You see, government on its own stand on one side. These regulatory bodies they are responsible for standards. Take, for instance, the case of styrofoam. I know at the moment the Nigerian packaging standard for styrofoam is sitting with Standard Organization of Nigeria. And this is a policy document that the regulatory body is about to pass. And then government is jumping up immediately to say, look, we ban something. Why they do not collaborate? The manufacturers of this packaging material have a responsibility. Like, I don't know if you're already informed, there's what we call the Extended Producer Responsibility Act, which is a law that has been passed or been passed by the National Assembly. Every producer of the packaging material has the responsibility that at the point that that product has been consumed, whichever way you were able to get that product to that point, you should be able to return the packaging material back to where it comes from. But because they know they cannot do all of this, what has been put in place now, they pay people whose responsibility is that they make sure that these packaging materials are taken out from the environment. If you go anywhere, you find a PET bottle, we can clearly see the labels on them, we know who is responsible. So you, as a producer of the packaging material, you have that responsibility also to make sure that you do not put this packaging material anywhere or create a menace in the environment. I mean, this is a strong conversation that is already been there, because when you come with all these policies, I mean, indirectly you're shutting down business.
Exactly. I was going to even ask you now. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria has come out to say that 5.5 million jobs will be lost. Nigerian breweries, according to the reports we got, due to their low performance in terms of revenue, based on the volatility in the operating environment, have laid off 400 workers. They are not back to the labor market. Now, if the government go ahead, starting with Lagos State government now, because they've come out to say that the ban on styrofoam will take effect today. So companies, outlets, or food vendors that trade with that particular product will be confiscated. Now, if we have all of this in place now, let's look at the ripple effect. Is the Lagos State government actually look at it on the long term? The impact this will have on its own internally generated revenue, and also the businesses, the survival of businesses. How will all of this affect them?
Okay, let us look at it clearly.
Yes.
Before this time, before styrofoam came in, before the small takeaway pack came in, what were the people using? They were using the black polythene bag, which for us is not a food grade material at all. If you go there, you find people that are using the plastic bag to put their beans, flour, and they cook them. You go to the people that are selling fufu, eba. I mean, this is what they use. For us in the industry, these ones are more toxic than what the government is trying to regulate now. I mean, some of this conversation, we need to sit on the table with the professionals to have the conversation. You don't come out and make the policies out of sentiment. You're going to be putting more people out of job. And when you put more people out of job, then the government may have bigger responsibility, because you then have the crime rates are high. Then government has more job to do. I mean, if I had the opportunity to speak with Lagos State government, which I believe we're going to push it from our association point and then with manufacturers in Nigeria, please, there is no need for the ban on styrofoam. What we need to do is to regulate the use of the material, whether it's for food grade or, and when I mean food grade, whether it should have direct contact with the food. Two, if the manufacturers of this particular product will stick to what the EPR law says, then you have the responsibility of taking the styrofoam pack out of the environment. I mean, it's like waking up one morning and say you put a ban on sachet water. Do you know what was going to happen in Nigeria?
That's another disaster on its own.
I mean, it's a conversation that we better not have. You cannot wake up one day and say you put a ban on sachet water. First, the government are failing their responsibility to make available potable water. And then you see people cannot even afford to buy a bottle in PET. In other countries, you have water in glass bottle. Can we afford it? I mean, it's like waking up one morning and say, look, people should stop drinking water. I mean, you even see at the moment when you're almost denying people of food, you see the protests that are going on. See, let us not have a situation where Nigerians are pushed to the wall, and then you now have a situation that you'll not be able to manage. People are saying, look, the means of livelihood is becoming a challenge.
Yes, it
and
is.
then you're putting more people out of job. The ban on sachet, alcohol in sachet,
yes.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. What are we talking about? Can I not buy a big bottle of brandy or buy a 4 liters of ogogoro we used to have in the past and then begin to dispense it in shots? This is what it was in the past. When we were growing up, the sachets were not there. You have 4 liters keg of ogogoro, sapele water. It's a locally distilled alcohol. People were mentioning it totes, and you go to Motor Park, that's what they were selling. Are you saying hygienically that was better than
What
sachet?
we have now.
I mean, regulation is one thing, and the way people manage it is a different thing. I listened to DJ of NAFDAC with all respect. Do you think that the school children who are really smart will take a sachet of alcohol in their bag to school? No. They will empty the sachet inside a bottle of Coke or Fanta. We see them every day. It's not as if we don't know. I mean, this is what they do. They even go beyond that. They go even with substances that are more abused. They carry them up and down. You don't know what they are carrying. You see them with a bottle of water, and the substances are dissolved inside. A smart student will not carry a sachet of alcohol in his bag to school because everybody immediately knows. He goes with a bottle of soft drink. He only knows what is inside.
Very true. Very true.